Alright everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues, episode 33. Rabid fox in Ferrisburgh. Family was out there and they actually got attacked by a diseased animal. Rabies, thankfully, in the state of Vermont, just so all the people that might want to come here and look at the leaves change color and so you don't get all spooked. Rabies here is relatively uncommon because what we do in this state is every year we have a bait drop with vaccine-laced bait. And they just fly over the woods and drop the bait everywhere, and so some of the mammalian species that are susceptible to rabies, especially the scavenging animals like raccoons that tend to get it, are at least partially immunized in order to tamp down on the number of animals that would be infected. Rabies, of course, is a huge problem in some parts of the world. In areas where there are high population densities and a lot of waste areas, a lot of scavenging going on, rabies can be quite common. You see this a lot in parts of Asia, especially parts of the Middle East. It's less prevalent. In some places it's been basically wiped out. I know, I think the UK wiped rabies out quite some time ago. They had a reservoir in some bat populations, but as far as I know, they've eliminated that too, which is, it's good for them. Rabies is basically an abomination and melts your brain into soup. Causing intense spasmodic pain in every possible sense of the term. And really, if there was ever an argument for allowing people to get euthanized, it would be people showing early rabies symptoms that can't be cured and they're going to die. Because the pain must be unimaginable if you look at the way these animals act. You can look it up, it's not very fun to watch, so, caution to you, but if you do look it up on YouTube, you're going to see some weird shit. Not every animal infected with rabies even really goes through a rage stage. This animal obviously was already in it, and that's pretty close to the end. The sort of dopey, stumbling around, confused stage, I believe, comes right before that. But it's in the rage stage that the animal is most dangerous, potentially. Anytime you encounter an animal, if it's sort of tailing you and looking a little bit off, yeah, you might want to try to get away from it. And the only saving grace, of course, is that a rabid animal tends to be badly coordinated and in such a mental state that it's not capable of necessarily moving at full speed for long periods of time. And of course, if you've already been bitten, you might as well try to take the animal down so that you can preserve, so that the health officials know that it's actually rabid and it wasn't just crazy for some other reason. Hopefully they can do some testing. But it's a dangerous disease. It's almost invariably deadly. If a person begins to show symptoms, there's not a lot to be done for them. So if you do get bitten by any animal that could be carrying, and a reptile doesn't get rabies, a bird doesn't get rabies, but certainly any mammalian species. I think there are a couple that are immune. Hyenas, I believe, are immune to rabies, oddly enough, which is probably good because a rabid hyena would be a problem in their native habitat. I think, isn't it possums, if I remember correctly, can't get it? Possums or some other creature. I'm pretty sure that it's opossums actually are immune to rabies, as opposed to raccoons, which are the typical reservoir. Raccoon populations seem to be the most susceptible. Wild dogs are susceptible, certain others. I've seen videos that claim to be of rabid deer. I'm not 100% sure that that's not some sort of brain-eating worm. Because I know that moose, actually, up here, do get a disease. It's some sort of weird parasite, and it goes into their brain, makes them stupid, and eventually kills them. And you've got to be able to differentiate as well between an animal with rabies and one with maybe sarcoptic mange or something like that. But the person who was bitten did get his shots and will recover and be just fine. In the article, it says, oh yeah, it was sort of like I was feeling confused and weak and fucked up until I got these shots. I'm not sure that a single day is long enough to be showing actually symptoms of rabies. I think that might be a post-traumatic stress from the fact that he was bitten by a rabid animal. But yeah, if you see one, don't even get close. Like, don't even get close enough to bash it in the head and put it out of its misery. Because if you do get bitten, yeah, you're going to get some shots. It's going to suck. Most people don't like shots. Unless they're like a heroin junkie, then there's one reason why they really like them, I suppose. You know, a little bit of an off-color joke there. But yes, we do have rabies in the state. Yes, we do. And not everything is total paradise, you know, Hobbiton over here. But we do suppress it. The bait drops, personally, I think they should double the bait drops. I think they should vastly increase that program and try to export it as well to other states. We might, with a really, really long-term concerted effort of immunizing all pets and dropping bait of that nature, it's entirely possible that we could eliminate rabies from the whole world. Unfortunately, no concerted effort has been done for this. It's still sporadic, and so you have some of these like island nations and other states that have basically eliminated rabies, but everywhere else it persists. You can have an outbreak of rabies and it can become a major problem, at least locally, for some time. It tends to burn itself down to its long-term, slow, steady process of picking off an animal here and there. Because it's deadly so quickly, because it's invariably deadly, it doesn't tend to become a pandemic. But if you have an overpopulated segment of mammalian life that gets rabies into it, yeah, it could become a huge problem, at least temporarily. You'd have you'd think of an outbreak in a coyote population, it wouldn't be great. Or an outbreak in a densely populated area full of raccoons, yeah, you're gonna have some friggin' problems with something like that. So it's a good idea, like if you're out in the woods or just there are animals generally around, yeah, if you see one drooling all over itself and stumbling around, you should probably avoid it. And don't sick your dog on it either, because otherwise Fido has to get put down too. Have you ever read Old Yeller? Yeah, talk about a fucking depressing book. Jeez, everything gets rabies in that. I think one of the cows gets hydrophobia and is sort of like screwed up, and then of course there's a rabid wolf, and then his dog gets bitten. He's like, oh, poor Old Yeller, I gotta put him down now. It's like, well, why the fuck did you let it tangle with the wolf in the first place if it had rabies? It's nothing to joke about. Yeah, you can look up footage of it, but I warn you, it's not very family friendly, so to speak. That's about all. Peace out.